Today I'm showing up here on YouTube to show you how I can run my days, how I can feel productive, how I can get things done using a time blocking schedule, how I create my schedule and the rules I have for my schedule. I have 5 strict rules for my time blocking, and time blocking really became super effective for me once I started using these 6 rules. And the baby's dropped her toy. Hold on. But time blocking essentially is placing certain activities in your day into a certain block of time. And I have been time blocking now for about 4 years, and it has been a game changer in how I run my home and how I can essentially live, with 6 kids, with homeschooling, with all the things that entails, which means some days it's extremely chaotic, but I can still get things done. So essentially it means that I can get things done even though my life is quite chaotic. So while I have a moment and I have my green smoothie and my kids are going crazy outside, I want to talk about how I time block and how I can make it so effective. Now, when I had my 4th child, I suddenly became extremely time poor. Okay, so time blocking essentially is knowing which activities are most important in each block and then being able to know what you can't do in each block. That's what makes it so effective. So the way I do it is I choose 5 priorities for each day. By doing things this way, I figured what was most important in my day and what wasn't, and that helps you to be able to cull doing things at certain times of the day. For example, there were many times when I didn't get exercise in because I would decide to clean, or I would decide to sit down and write a blog post, or I would decide to cook dinner early. When I was replacing one priority with things that were also priorities but could have belonged in a different time block, the priority which was still important to me was no longer getting done. And that's where I realized that in order to be consistent with things that I set for myself, I have to make sure that I have 1 priority in each time block and only 5 priorities a day. Time blocking helps me the most because it helps me understand what I need to do, so it helps me plan ahead so I'm not sort of fumbling through my day. And most importantly, each time block tells me what I cannot do in that block. That's what makes it most effective in my opinion. This is my rules. Rule number 1 is never drag a time block. So that means that, for example, if I'm up at 7 a.m. and I know that I have to stop at 8 a.m. if I have like a coffee and work block, I stop at 8 a.m. I do not drag it out because it can be tempting to, especially if the children are still sleeping, or you think I could just squeeze another half an hour, or I could just do another few tasks. But if you have other priorities that you can't not do in that day, which I call glass ball priorities, if you don't get started on them in the next block, then your whole day is off kilter. So it doesn't matter what time you wake up, it doesn't matter when the block ends or starts, it's all up to you how you run your own block schedule. What matters is the priorities that you place inside each block need to be done first, and if you have extra time in that block once you've done the priority, then you can do something else maybe that you haven't even planned. But if the time block ends and it's time to start the next block and you have a priority inside that block as well, don't drag the block, stop, move on. You can come back to the next block tomorrow, and that's just how it has to be. So 5 priorities in the day. It's, for me, an important number. I found if I did 3 to 4 priorities, I could usually squeeze 1 more in. But if I did 6 or 7, I usually couldn't get them all complete. So for me personally, 5 is my magic number when it comes to setting glass ball priorities. Okay, so a glass ball priority is something that you cannot drop. It is something that it must be done in that day, and you can have the same set of priorities each day, or I have 3 priorities that I like to get done, which are glass ball priorities. These 3 stay the same each day. It's through my Bible, homeschool, and exercise. The other 2 are things that I will throw in there based on day to day. And this comes from an all-round to-do list for my week. And these can be things like cleaning my ensuite or organizing shelves in the hall cupboard. These are things that I know have to get done. And if I designate them to be a glass ball priority, it means they'll get done, and I have a way of making sure that all my glass balls get done. So what I do is I have a checklist. in this checklist, I write jobs I need to do for the week. So usually it's one each day, sometimes two. So I might end up with anywhere between 7 to 12 jobs to do in the week. This is always around my home. This gets written down on my checklist and placed where I'll see it, either on my fridge or in my diary. The second thing that I do, I used to do it religiously, not so much anymore since my block schedule has become so natural, but I fill in my morning glass balls and my morning plastic balls, which essentially means the things that I must get done each morning and the things that I'd like to get done, but if I don't, it doesn't matter. The best way to understand how to really block schedule is to know what to remove from your blocks to get your priorities done. The most important rule with block scheduling is understanding your glass ball priorities. These are priorities that you must get done and you cannot drop them, otherwise your whole place is going to crash and burn. Try and set 5 priorities in your day and no more. This is the magic number I find when you're busy with the number of priorities that you can realistically get done each day. Rule number 2, make a plan for each block. It is crucial to plan each block. So to plan each block, know which glass ball priority you are going to get done, or if you have no more than one, know which ones you're going to get done. Always set your glass ball priorities in the front of your block schedule. So if you have a block of time between say 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. for an afternoon activities, set the things that you must get done, so your glass balls at the front of the block. Do not set them at the end. If you set them at the end of the block, then what you should do is move the times and create a new block where that activity really starts. What's going to create the block schedule for you is actually where your priorities need to get done in the day. For example, my exercise is a priority. I know that I must get it done as soon as the quiet time in my home starts, anywhere from 1 to 2 p.m. Rule number 3, have a work smart block. This is crucial if you're really busy like me, you're in your home all day and you can really quickly become overrun. One of the most important things we can do for ourselves is to not just react to our day, but have an active plan in place. So you've already got the time blocking, you've already got your priorities, you already have a plan with your priorities in place. The next thing you want to do is have a smart block. This is really small block of time, anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes, where you do something in your day to either help you in the future of just this day, or to help you tomorrow or next week. It can be something that compounds on itself. It can be organizing something that needs to be done. It can be creating a meal plan. It can be simply putting dinner in the slow cooker. It's best to have this in the morning after the breakfast block. That's when I find it most helpful, but you can have it any time of the day that helps you plan ahead. We've talked about glass ball priorities. Let's talk about plastic ball priorities. These are things that you can chuck into your day that you'd like to get done. It would be nice if you got them done, but if you don't get them done, it's perfectly fine. These are ones that you can drop and they will bounce away, and you can pick them up tomorrow or the day after or next week. It isn't really going to worry you. Rule number 5, set a rest block. This is really crucial. You're going to be a busy person, most likely for a long time. You want to have rest. You need to schedule at least 20 minutes of rest, but if you can do longer than that, that's much better. Whether it's in the afternoons or the evenings, something that you can do. And as a busy mum, you are going to have to choose to rest, even when your house is dirty, even when there's washing to fold, even when there's things to do. Creating a rest block is crucial. It's going to keep you in this the long term without getting burnt out, and it is just as important as any other priority in your day. So schedule yourself a rest block. So for me, time blocking is a way of knowing what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, what's important and what's not. It also helps me to give me rules to myself regarding my screen time and regarding distractions in general. Especially when you're homeschooling and when you're trying to raise kids, you want to listen to them, have conversations with them and things like that. Being distracted as a mum, even by cleaning and even by doing those things, can add up in your days. So if you time block, you can also use that time block system to give yourself rules. And what I love about time blocking is that when as a mum and you're super busy and you have so much that you need to do each day, but say you set for yourself something like you would like to exercise more consistently, or you need to read to your kids more consistently, or you need to make homeschooling more consistent. Well, what you can do is to set that as a glass ball priority, set it at the front of a time block, and then what makes it actually effective. Because I know that it's easy to say, I'm going to exercise in the afternoon, it's a glass ball priority, and it's going to get done, but then still it doesn't get done. But if you can become better at not dragging your blocks, having a plan, and getting better at telling yourself what you can't do in a block, then you will create for yourself a time when you know naturally, not at a certain time of day, but in a certain area of the day, at a certain feel of the day, that it's time for you to do your exercise. You don't have to make it long. At the moment, I have a 5-month-old and I exercise for 20 minutes a day. I do almost everything in 20-minute slots. I write emails for 20 minutes. I do a blog post in 20 minutes. I do an Instagram post in 20 minutes. I do a workout in 20 minutes. It doesn't matter how much time you have. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit of time or a lot of time. You can still schedule everything into your time blocking. You can use those priorities to get you places, and you can use your priorities to help you today and to help you tomorrow and to help you next week and next month. That's how I see exercise. It doesn't always help me in the day. It helps me the next day. It helps me next month to be. All right, so another really crucial thing when it comes to time blocking is to know what you cannot have in a time block. For example, in my morning block, from the time I wake to the time when lunch is over, so my entire morning and a little bit of the afternoon, there is no phone for me. I don't check my emails. I don't go on my phone. I only go on my computer if I'm in that work block in the early morning. Other than that, I have a strict rule of what I can and can't do in a block. I also have rules for myself where I don't clean my kitchen and spend a long time cleaning my kitchen until I'm in the dinner block. This is because I cannot sustain time constantly spent in my kitchen on top of cooking. So I do a quick cleanup. I will quickly do the dishes, put the dishes in the dishwasher, and walk away. I find if you have set rules for yourself like this, things that you will not do in a certain block in order to reach a priority, this is what makes getting things done consistently. You may have a dirty kitchen at lunchtime. You may have things that you could do and things that once you start take you down this long path where you can't even remember where you started and you have no idea where you're going to finish. This was one of the biggest time killers as a mom for me when I had my 4th kid, and I would constantly find myself just losing time to tidying, to just getting stuck doing things that needed to be done but weren't necessarily super important to me when I had a list of things that I really wanted to get done. By doing it this way, you are going to become in the habit of when to stop and when to pick up a new activity. And does it mean that I work out every single day? No, some days I miss because I can't control babies and I can't control every outside thing going on in my life. But 8 times out of 10, I do have control over my blocks in my day. Maybe not every block, but most blocks. And this is why I think as a busy mom, time blocking is a really great way to schedule. And it is a way that I'm sure I will continue to use for a very long time. It has served me very well. And I hope that you can try it too. Remember, it's fully customizable. You don't have to have anything fancy. I have a free printable that you can download and print out for yourself of my time schedule. I also have a thing that you can keep on your fridge for checklists, and a chart you can fill out for your morning and afternoon and evening, glass and plastic balls priorities. If you want to have that printable, then click down to the post below and download it. I have a full blog post on block scheduling too that you can read, which is where the free printable is. So I'll leave that in the description down below. If you like this video, if it helped you, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't, if you want to stick around and see more. My name is Sinead. I've got 6 kids. I'm a homeschooler, if I haven't said that already. My life is super hectic, but it's good. It's good and it's fulfilling. So until next time, bye.